What's up, guys? Average Kiwi Guy here. How y'all doing? So I know it's been out for a little while. I think it's been about a month since it got released. I just hadn't got around to seeing it. Games and stuff had come out like Monster Hunter and all that, and it just took up all my time. And with real life stuff as well. Didn't have much time for Netflix, so finally got around to seeing it. Altered Carbon, super cool, very very awesome show. Loved it. Loved every episode of it. It was fantastic. So I just wanted to do kind of a quick, brief review on it because clearly like a lot of people have covered it a lot. Just stuff I liked about it, stuff that I thought maybe they could work on for hopefully the next season. And stuff like that. Just a quick overall on it. Like, is it worth watching? For those of you who haven't watched it. Just a quick heads up, I probably will spoil a few little things. I'll probably try and stay away from big spoilers, but just little stuff that, if you don't mind being spoiled on, that's cool. But yeah, there will be spoilers here, okay? So just a quick heads up on that one. All right. But man, Alter Carbon, like major Deus Ex vibes, major Blade Runner vibes. Especially after the new Blade Runner and stuff that just come out on, I think, on Blu-ray and all that. Major like even Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell, I thought had sort of played a part in this as well. It draws in a lot of different things, and it works together. It really does, and it has that kind of cyberpunk feel to it. Gritty. Rainy city, with like too many people, super high tech stuff, like hologram advertisements everywhere. It's awesome. It is very cool. Very cool show. The visuals are fantastic. Like flying cars and stuff are top notch. It's a top notch thing. Like they put a lot of money into making sure that was done right. All of it looked supremely good. Like the sets and stuff looked really good. The clothing and all that, even all the extras and all that had, really cool things. Like I said, like it had major Blade Runner type vibes there. Those of you who played Deus Ex games, like just stuff like that, like enhanced humans and stuff. Like one of the main characters pretty much loses her arm and they have to replace it, and she full on, cybernetic type arm that looks like a normal arm. But she's like, super strong in that, it's all that sort of stuff. And it's all centered around the human consciousness is able to be downloaded into these things called stacks, which are like sit in the back of your neck. And essentially it's made humans immortal, but only for those who can afford to buy the sleeves, so the bodies, that the only ones who can afford to actually go into them. So if you die and you can afford a new sleeve, cool. That means that you can keep living. You can live for however long the next sleeve lasts. And then if you die, as long as your stack's not broken, not destroyed in any way, you go into the next one. But if you're poor, or there's also like religious stuff in this where people have chosen like, nope, when I die, I die. I don't want to come back. Stuff like that. That's it. You sort of, you could be, there are some that are like coded that they can't be spun up, but you just sit there and you wait, and like maybe you get spun back up, maybe you don't. So it's kind of cool in that sense, how people just don't respect bodies at all. There's full on sort of like fantasy places where people just let you kill them, like full on like murder sex stuff, like that stuff is in this stuff. It is like the people have no respect for bodies because it's just like, oh, it's just a sleeve. Like there are like full on like fight to the death things with this married couple fight to the death for people's amusement, because whoever wins gets a new sleeve, a new upgraded sleeve. One who loses gets a downgraded one. So it's just their job. They don't care about their body. It's like Like, oh, it's all right. The body will go away. I get a new one. I get popped into another one. It's taken away, like, respecting the body, making sure it's, not, don't hurt anyone, sort of thing. Like, people just don't respect that, especially the ones up, like the super rich ones are called meths. So there's definitely like a hierarchy. Like, you've got these people that live up in the clouds. Like, they live up in the clouds. They have like floating islands, floating houses, or these big towers and stuff. And they're called meths. And they are like super beyond rich because they've lived for hundreds of years and they've accumulated all this wealth. They run everything. They have influence everywhere. All this stuff, right? And they kind of run what's happening down below. They call like the grounders or something. And for them, they don't have to worry about their stack being blown out because their consciousness gets sort of backed up to a sort of satellite up in orbit around Earth, and they can just go up and they just get booted back up. They get the backup, and they go into a new clone who's exactly the same as them, and they essentially like use clones as travel. Like, they have clones all around the world, and they just link to the next clone, and they just go over to that one, and then they link back, and then that's how it works now. Your consciousness is just easily moved around. You just go from body to body. So it has some really cool concepts. This show, it's got some really cool concepts that I really like. Sci-fi stuff. I'm super into that sort of thing. So the entire show is basically centered around this one character called Takeshi Kovacs, and this guy was an envoy like 200 years ago, and an envoy was they called them terrorists, but they were the opposition of this war between envoys and the Protectorate, because the Protectorate wants to have, like, they take over worlds, start this big federation, that sort of thing. They do what they want type thing. Like, they center around like, we're protecting everyone, right? But they're just gathering resources, they're gathering power. And the envoys, they want to stop people from having immortal life because they think if people don't fear death anymore, like, death is the ultimate failsafe to people's evils. Like, the longer people live, maybe the more corrupted they get, sort of thing. Without old age taking over, without having to worry about, the specter of death coming after them, people just get corrupted. So they believe, like, people should only live for 100 years, and then that's it. So there's a big war being fought over it, and he was one of the envoys there who, like, specially trained, really good at fighting. They can go to different sleeves, because when you go to a different sleeve, you get sleeve sickness. So it makes you really weak. You're not quite, it takes a while to get used to it, right? For them, they can get in, boom, within minutes, they're combat ready. They can get up, go. Like, it's not a thing. So they use that, like, to infiltrate places, because they were kind of like a little guerrilla unit. Like, they weren't a big army. They weren't massive. They were like this little rebellion type thing. And, they would just sneak into different protectorate bases and, do, blow up stuff and, do different things and, steal information and stuff. And, yeah, so he was one of them. He gets bought out. He was on ice, which means, like, he just wasn't plugged into anyone. So he was in the dark for like 200 years or so. And he gets bought out to solve a murder of this big meth guy who's like, I couldn't possibly have killed myself. I don't do that. Because he did die, but he comes back because the backup. But the backup only has the memories of the previous backup. And he doesn't know the 48 hours between him being backed up, So he wants to figure out what happened to him. So he gets him to come out, and this whole thing happens, and this big, crazy adventure that involves, you had this cop, Kristen Ortega. You had this AI, like, hotel guy called Poe. He was really cool. Because everyone hates AIs in this. Because they think they're, like, super stalkery, like these AI hotels. No one stays in them. But Takeshi's, like, 200 years out of date, so he goes and stays in them. but it also works out for him because he's like Poe is super protective of him, so it's like a stronghold based for him. So it's really good for him to be there, and he helps him out all the time. They get the Elliots on board, which are these. Well, he gets the father first because this daughter was involved in some crazy stuff, and she's trapped in her own mind. She's gone insane, and she's like in her little stack, and they can't plug her back in because she's so broken inside that her consciousness is broken. So they have to help get her back, and her mom gets involved. It's all this stuff, and it all sort of gets to the nitty gritty part of like the meths up top, how they're very corrupt up there. The no respect for life, no respect for anything. Like, they're going around killing these people for real, and no one gives a shit because they're mess and they're the big important people. It's some crazy stuff that happens. Like, this isn't even the craziest thing, but at the dinner party, I'm pretty sure that they're eating leopard or cheetah or something. Like, a full-on roast dinner, but it's like a leopard or a cheetah. I was like, the poor cheater, like the poor leopard, like no. That type of shit is happening in this. So there's some insane stuff. A lot of booty shots, a lot of junk shots on both genders. Fair warning for those who aren't into like nudity things, or if you are into nudity things, congratulations. There's a lot of it in this series. I would say like at least a scene per episode. Where it's either a full-on like junk shot, either a guy, girl, whatever, booty shots, all of it. It's all there. I mean, it's what a lot of these Netflix series do now. They're very much like, this is an adult thing. Kids should not be watching this. Everyone wants to be like Game of Thrones, right? Everyone wants to be like Game of Thrones. Nudity stuff everywhere. Yeah, it's pretty normal now. It's a pretty normal thing. I think people are being pretty desensitized to it. So, just a fair warning, if you aren't into that, or if you are into that, there you go. That's in it as well. I would say like they do it, in the right places. Like it's not out of the blue type thing. But there are a couple of scenes that are like, did that guy really have to be naked? Did that girl really have to be naked? That sort of thing. Like it was so like unnecessary. But it's what I think they wanted to sort of show like people don't really worry about the sleeve. Like it's just a tool. It's a tool. Like the important thing is your stack. Your stack is your mind. The body is just a tool. It's a thing that's grown for you. You don't have to worry about it. You just get another one. If you're rich enough. If you're poor, that's it. But if you're rich enough, it's like, so what? I can change them like socks type thing. So yeah. So yeah, that if you're into that sort of stuff, that's there for you as well. But yeah, like story-wise, I thought the story was really good. Had some twists and turns. Had some cool little, kind of detective stuff where you're following leads. Characters progress quite well. I will say, like Takeshi, can be quite, like sort of like I'm the hero guy. I've been through some shit. I'm dark and like type thing quite a bit. But he starts to care later on. It's that typical thing. Like I'm a badass. I don't care about anything. But eventually those people grow on him and they become friends. And then, yeah, that type of thing. But they do like some cool stuff about his past. How he became an envoy and stuff like that. Family stuff becomes very important. And all that. But just overall, man, like I was very impressed. With Altered Carbon. Very, very impressed. I want a new season. Of it. And they set it up for it. They set it up for maybe a different like type. Like it's like this season was all about like being in Bay City, which I think is supposed to be San Francisco, because they like, I mean, they had like the Golden Gate Bridge, like with houses on, like at least like container houses on it and stuff where poor people, like the poor live and stuff. And yeah, it's all centered around in this city, where I think maybe the next season might be a little more like planet hopping, because it seems to be like it's more of a like going to be like a search for something. I will say like all the characters I liked a lot of the characters. I think everyone kind of played their role in a way. I think everyone, had their badass moments. Some were kind of just, they were meant to go down like punks. Some like were, you kind of love to hate them type things. I think they had a good mix. They had a good mix of characters there. And you just, like, you just got into the story. You got into the story and you followed through it, and you wanted to see the next episode. And I think that's the big thing, right, with Netflix series, is that you want to push next on when you should probably go to bed, and you shouldn't push the next episode, but you push it anyway. That's when you know it's a good series. So full on, like, go watch it if you haven't seen it. I think it's really cool. I'm hoping for a season 2. Apparently, the main actor, Joel Kinnaman, I think his name is Kinnaman, he has gone to Amazon. So he's gone to Amazon for a series over there. So apparently he will not be in the new Altered Carbon if there is a new season. It doesn't matter in this series. It doesn't matter because people just change bodies. You just change bodies. Like, it doesn't matter. So as long as they get a good actor to do the next one, they could change actors every season, and it wouldn't matter really, as long as they get good actors to play the main character. So yeah, I think really want a new season. Really want a new season. And I'm kind of sad that I finished watching it because I was getting really into it. But yeah, well worth a watch. Well worth a watch. All right, guys, that's it for us. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace. Bye.